Hello dear beloved watcher, observer and studier. I am about to do another video for Self-Transcendence Show with Royal Anwar. This is the dark chaos comedian presenting the darkest chaotic comedian. This guy, he thinks he's a comedian. But all he does is he laughs at things before he says things, you know. He jokes about things without joking about things, and even though he looks very serious on his contents and his social medias, or at least some people, there was this guy Salar Himati, one of my Iranian friends. He was like, "Bro, chill out, you're too serious all the time." I was like, that is very interesting, because I'm the most chill dude you could ever meet, and they know me, but somehow through my contents and everything I seem to sometimes appear very serious, very dark, very chaotic, you know, so much chaos in me. And that is true. There is so much chaos in me that all I am is chaos energy, it's singularity energy. And that's why in this video I have some balloons and shit like that, just to, you know, make it less scary for you. Because apparently when humans see balloons, they automatically think of birthdays and celebrations and shit like that. When they see gold and white, and gold is like the color of success and wealth and abundance and shit like that. And then this one is like the color of purity, this translucent thing, you know, you can see me through it. And maybe you can, maybe you can't. Ooh, do you see me now? Ooh. But anyway, as I was doing that, because I started this video with no idea of what I was going to talk about, because before this I did another video about 13 minutes and it just cut off, and I was like, cool, I'm just going to do another one. But I didn't know what I was going to talk about, so I was like, fuck it, let's just figure it out. I just started the video and just talked about some random shit just to get your attention and just make you laugh, honestly, because at this point you're wondering like what the fuck is this guy gonna talk about? Like, what is this video about? Like, the title doesn't make any sense. It's just some numbers and shit like that, or what is this? And then when I was saying that this is a color of success and gold and abundance and many things like that, then this idea, this emotional feeling thought wave, 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 emotional feeling thought wave popped into my head to share my own story with money. Because fundamentally, when we look at money, what is money to you? Not the paper, the notes, the coins. Money itself, M0N3Y, money. Because when we put in when we have like money, 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 that is just money, the paper, the notes you guys use every single day. But when we say M0N3Y, money, now we have the number 0 and 3 in there. What is number 3? Number 3 is the number of biology, the number of emotion, the number of energy. What is number 0? It's the number of singularity, it's the number of absolutes. Like 0 is neither female, neither masculine. 0 is neither positive, neither negative. 0 is just a factor, and the 0 is the X factor. 0 is the force multiplier. 0 is like the singularity energy. It's the infinite energy that everything is running and being emanated from. Like, there is only just one singular seed, and that one singularity seed is appearing as 3 seeds. Or the Holy Trinity, whatever bullshit you guys talk about. It's not really Holy Trinity at all. It's just like Chaos Trinity. Think of it like that. So what is money to you? Because fundamentally, when I looked around in the world, people are like, "Ooh, money is the root of all evil," or "Money is it causes suffering," and "You have too much money, you don't know what you." Oh, hey Lawrence, what's up? Just my neighbor while I'm doing my video. It's looking at me like, yeah, bro, what's up? Yeah, like, what is money to you? Because fundamentally, when you look at like money, people say it's the root of all evil and things like that. But you gotta understand, money is a tool and an instrument, or I call it the abundant love energy of money. Abundant love energy of money. And I have had such an amazing experience with money. Like, I've had thousands of it, probably like close to like $250,000 so far, like total money I've made and experienced, and how much money I think so far, like in total there's been at least $250,000 or $500,000 money flowed through me in terms of like pound and dollar. I'm not counting about the Asian money, because in Asia, in the Asian money, I'm a multi-millionaire. But right now, honestly, I have like probably less than £25 in my account, because that's the whole point I wanted to share this story, was like about money, because I've grown up in like early my childhood. I was just reading some of my journals about like rewriting my story from my childhood. How was it? And I noticed there was a lot of things about money, like saying we didn't have money, but at the same time we had everything, because we were living in this community, in this paradise, and it was so beautiful and all of that. But we didn't have much money. Like I used to, like as a child, I would to search my father's pocket to look for money, and you know there would be no money, and then I would get sad and saying, oh, we don't have money, we are poor and this and that. But we were really living abundantly, honestly, because we had the food we wanted, we had clean water running right in front of our house, we had our own land, you know, planting weeds and trees, and we had like different fruits and everything, and everybody lived as a community, even though there was a lot of disagreements and shit like that. It was just consciousness having fun and experiencing and growing and transcending itself. So, you know, I picked up a lot of like traumas, a lot of perceived traumas about money, and I was like, you know, I loved money. I loved how it enabled me to buy things, to really express myself, to have different experiences and all of that. But at the same time, I had this relationship with money, this unconscious, this subconscious, unconscious and subconscious relationship with money. But in my conscious state, in my aware state, I would always look for ways to make money and just do anything and everything to make money, even go as far as stealing it. Like I remember in our school, there was this day, you know, everybody would bring in their fees for the teacher, and I just saw in front of me there was this like bundle of money. It was like around £500 after I counted later on, and it was from this guy called Taus. His name is Taus, I think. And I just picked the bundle of money, put it in my pocket, and then I was like getting all sweaty and everything. I was like, what am I going to do with this? So I basically asked the teacher, hey, can I go to the toilet? So I went outside and put the money in this rock wall, and then went back inside, and then he was like, oh, I've lost my money. So we searched everybody, but you know there was no money in anybody's pocket, because I knew where it was. I put it outside in the fucking wall between the wall stones. And I didn't say anything about it. I just watched and observed and studied myself, like going through that emotion, going through the experience, not saying anything. And now I just like that. Wow, this thing is now, like looking back at it many times, like I've done so much like healing on that, like going back and revisiting the memory and like, you know, apologizing and shit like that. But it was just an experience for me, because think of it like this, nothing happens by accident. It was probably meant to happen, in a sense that, you know, that guy, his higher self, his soul wave, whatever you call it, he probably knew before it even happened. Of course he knew. So one day I could talk about it in this video and get his soul wave involved, because I understand like we are so deeply connected that it doesn't matter what you think the wrong thing you have done to anybody, because ultimately it's not you that's doing anything, it is the Absolute that's doing it through you. It is Allah, it is God, it is the Spirit Divine, it is the Source Creator itself, it is the universe itself, it is consciousness, it is awareness, it is telepathy, it is all of that doing it through you. So I had to basically release myself from the bondage of the traumatic event and experience and the black hole that was sucking my energy. I was like, I had to let it go. And I was like, I went back in there and like, you know, I washed it again and again, playing out, like me taking the money and then putting it in the outside in the wall, and then going back in, and the teachers were searching all our pockets and couldn't find the name. Yet I kept my fucking mouth shut, even though I was like, I was the one they stole it. And then when I wrote my Self-Transcendence Mastery story, the chapters and everything, I put it there on public on my website, because I just wanted everybody to see me nakedly, because there is nothing that we can hide. Everything that you do, every thought that you have, every action that you have ever done, it is all recorded in the Akasha itself, in the whole universal cosmic. They call it the morphogenic field or something. Basically, that is what I refer to as the universal mind of unity, or the transcendence unified mind. It is the mind itself. It is the consciousness. It is awareness. It is telepathy. Consciousness, awareness, telepathy. Telepathy, consciousness, awareness. So there is no hiding. It doesn't matter what you think you have done. It doesn't matter how much you try to hide yourself or reactions you have done. There is gonna come, I have seen the end when every human becomes telepathic and we all live as social memory complex. But it is happening right now because there are millions and probably close to like hopefully a billion at least by the end of 2022 we have at least 500 600 million. That's my hope. Like at least we have that much people living on earth, maybe not even that much, maybe like even 100 million or 120 million, 120,000 people living as singularity social memory complexes where they have made themselves so pure, so golden, so green. A green tree behind me. That they have allowed the spirit to completely see them nakedly. Because think of it like this: even though the spirit, the divine source creator and everything, created everything and gave us full freedom of choice, not free will. There is no such thing as free will, guys. You guys gotta forget that, because especially right now, since humanity has become the new earth, evolved humanity, one cosmic family of infinite diversity, the eternal one conscious harmonious civilization, new earth, evolved humanity, one cosmic family of infinite diversity, the eternal one conscious harmonious civilization. We are now a global fucking civilization. And the aim is like the more humans that make themselves naked to the absolute, the more we become a social memory complex where every human exists telepathically. Right now, a lot of people are not choosing to do that because they have so much fear of like, oh, people are going to know that I am a bad person or this, or I did some wrong, unbalanced stuff. We all have done it, guys. Come on, just look at my story and my self-transcendence journal on my website royalanwar.com. Look at my YouTube channel, Self-Transcendence Show with Royal Anwar. Look at the videos. I have shared everything there public. I've shared that I've been gay before in different chapters. I've stolen money before. I've not raped anybody yet. No, don't have any intentions of doing that. But I've been like really very naughty in a sense, like a lot of sexual energy and everything. And as I'm doing this, I can feel this thought, this emotional feeling, thought waves within me, trying to say this or that, and it's just trying to play tricks on me. Because you gotta understand, the mind is aware that it's playing tricks on people, and and when you are having a moment, an experience and everything, and the mind shows you the worst case scenarios, you just gotta laugh at it. Because when you're laughing at yourself, at the mind itself, it eases up, it gets a bit loosened up, it becomes more dynamic, and you're able to experience different experiences and have a more fun and joyful living experience. Because that is when we actually allow the absolute to see us nakedly. Then what happens is, because it has given us freedom of choice, and until we each make that choice to return to the source, return to the absolute in a pure state of being, then it is not going to really force us to become a social memory complex. It is not going to force us to show all of our, admit and acknowledge all of our secrets, all of our desires, all of our wants and needs, and all the unbalanced shit we have done. It already knows it. It already knows everything you have done. It already knows all of your sides. It already knows every dimension, 013 dimensional being that you are. It already knows everything you have done. It already knows everything you will ever do. It already knows how you are. It already knows who you are, the real you, the real freaky, crazy, goofball, whatever you are, the quirky, fun, dark, chaotic, bright or light, whatever bullshit you call yourself. It doesn't matter, because we each have a truest, purest, highest, darkest and brightest self. If you say that you only have a truest, purest, highest self, then you're living the darkest and brightest self out. If you're not acknowledging your own dark nature, your own darkness within you, the chaos energy within you, then you're living one big singularity energy out of it. Then you don't have access to that zero, that singularity energy. So you're not shalom, you're not complete whole peace. But if you admit, if you acknowledge your own truest, purest, highest, darkest and brightest self, and brightest self, that is more powerful, isn't it? And then if you say that you have and then if you acknowledge your own singularity, spiritual, ethereal energy, eternal, infinite light essence, your different bodies of like made of energy, consciousness, the causal body, the physical body, the astral body, things like that, with your own truest, purest, highest, darkest embodied self. You can imagine how powerful you are right now. Like that, it is unbreakable. Like, it doesn't matter how much force you put in there, that thing is locked. Like, I'm putting a lot of force in that, and it is unfucking breakable. And you know the analogy, like if you have like 5 sticks, you can break it easily, but if you have 10, it becomes unbreakable. Similar as this, like this is like, think of it like your truest, purest, highest, darkest embodied self with your singularity, spiritual, ethereal energy, eternal light essence. It is it is unfucking breakable, and you can do things like this with it. It becomes like the spear of destiny. And every time you hold anything that is similar to a wand or like this, you can just imagine it and call it the spear of destiny, because whoever holds the spear of destiny holds some magical keys and everything. And you gotta understand, it is not something that only one person can hold. It is everybody holds it. You all have the spear of destiny within you. It's just your vertebra, the serpent, or the energy within you. So it doesn't matter if you know, it's best to just get something like this as a symbolic. When I say symbolic, because you physically have something that looks like a spear, but also looks like the Solomon's stick or whatever. It also, at this angle, it looks like the Excalibur. If you hold it like this, it looks like the bow, Zeus's bow, or Kamani or Sam in the Persian culture and things like that. If we just have that, then symbolically now it becomes Zeus's bow. So now in that state, this thing is both the spear of destiny, it is both the Excalibur, it is both the Zeus's bow, it is also the Kamani or Sam. It's also a wand. It is also Gandalf's wand, like this, with the crystal in there. There is no limit on how far you can take your imagination and everything. And the same thing with money, because the main topic of this thing is money. But we also talked about some other stuff, because I had to allow the absolute. It already knows like all my secrets and everything. But I was like, hey guys, you already know that I am apparently pure being, but here is my full, truest, purest, highest, darkest, and brightest self. Like, here is me fully naked, like every cell, every atom, every tone of my being. I made it completely naked to the absolute, to money and everything, and I had to heal my relationship with money. In a sense, I had to understand what fundamentally money is. All it is just an abundant love energy of money. Abundant love energy of money. Love energy of money. So it's like air that we breathe in. Because what is air? The molecule air, airtron, air. Isn't that energy? Isn't air the most abundant element? Isn't air water, that has water molecules in it? Isn't this planet made of like 80-90% water? Aren't we using water to make money? Aren't we using this stuff to make money? Aren't we just using a bunch of codes on a computer machines and printing it like a what are those machines, like vending machines, you know, just put in, like, just bang it and put in some energy. Again, we're using electricity, which is just free, available. We're just using some trees and woods and printing money. It's just abundant everywhere. But until we see that abundance and we realize that the love energy of money exists already inside of us, it's a consciousness, it's an awareness, it's a telepathic awareness. And money, M0N3Y, that has a fundamentally different resonance. It has a different frequency. It is a being. It becomes a being. Like money has an M0N3Y, money. But when you write it as M0N3Y, you have the number 03. Where number 3 is the ascended master's number, isn't it? Maybe that's why we have 3 balloons. It's just all there in front of us, because fundamentally money is made of everything in nature. Has a triple quad nature. Everything, like, it has a triple aspects to it. If you look at like a pyramid, even though it has like 1, 2, 3 points, but it has a center. But it also, if you look at it, the pyramid has a shadow, so like this, and then it has something underneath it like that. So it's like every pyramid has, every diamond has 2 pyramids that then together make a thrice great diamond, or 3 pyramids together combined. So now we have 12 aspects to money, 12 dimensions in money. That 12 dimensions, or the 12 prophets of Islam, Christianity, any religion, any main thing you have, they typically have, like, the rainbow has 12 colors and everything. Then you got to understand that money is a 013 dimensional being. It is as aware as you are, it is as intelligent as you are, it is as sexy, as beautiful, as freaky, as cute, as dark, as bright, as true, as pure as you. Money is you. You are money. Money is a part of consciousness as much as humanity is a part of consciousness. Money is evolving and transcending and growing and becoming its own truest, purest, highest, darkest, brightest self, which is becoming a free source of a free instrument, a neutral energy, a neutral instrument for humanity to be able to one day do transactions with our extraterrestrial brothers and sisters, because they don't use fucking dollars or pounds or Afghani or euro or dirham or dinar or whatever bullshit currency we have on earth. They don't use paper and shit like that. They use some other forms of currency, but it's still, money is a universal concept. It doesn't matter if you go to the ancient future, which is our ancient future is our ancient past, and our ancient future is our ancient. No, our ancient past is our ancient future. So it doesn't matter on what part of the infinity you go. It doesn't matter if you go to the eternal infinity. It doesn't matter if you go to Alpha Omega. It doesn't matter if you go to the singularity now. It doesn't matter wherever you go. There is some form of abundant love energy of money. In the ancient times, they had like coins, and in the beginning they didn't have any method of exchanging. You know, they were just giving, like, here's my cow, give me a chicken, or here's some bread, give me some bread, or we just borrow things. In Delhi now, in Afghanistan, like, we would share everything. Like, if you had a guest over at night and you were short of bread, you just knock on the neighbor and say, hey, can I have 2 breads, please? And then a few days later, when you were cooking bread in the oven, nice and fresh, you would just take 2 breads and give them back 2 breads. There was no argument, there was no judgment saying, hey, my bread was thicker and it was longer and bigger, than yours is like thinner and has noise, and there's not much bread in there. There was nothing that shit. This is like 20 years ago, this is like 15 years ago in Afghanistan, I'm sharing this story, because we still have that barter system. We still have that, the neighbors, the community sharing things with each other, because that will always be here. That is the inception, genesis, number 0 exchange of money, because all money is, it's an instrument, it's an abundant love energy of money used for an exchange of absolute gratitude, appreciation, love, light, and unity for another soul wave, a human being or an extraterrestrial brother and sister, expressing to their truest, purest, highest, darkest, and brightest self something for their existence. Like, it could be whether they made you laugh, whether you watched my videos and you just click the like button, or you subscribe, or you just put a comment there saying, well, your video was so creative, you just had these balloons and it looked different and I just watched the whole video, thank you. Or you could just comment and say, this guy is nuts. What is he talking about? He's blabbing about so much shit. Why does he have some balloons in there? Why does he have this? You know, how does he know, like, karate and kung fu, and how does he know he can move things like that and be very masterful with it? Like, you know, how does he feel so good inside? him when he does movements like this? How is that triggering or helping him remember his ancient future, ancient past lifetimes here on Earth and all the other galaxies and everything, when I was like a guardian warrior or anything like that, and I had like spears and shit like that, and we would, do things like this, and make noise like that. Or you could just watch, observe, and study and be like, what is this guy really talking about? Like, why is he saying that money is an abundant love energy? Why is he saying that? Why is he saying that money is not the root of evil? Then think of it like this: if people say that money is the root of evil, next time you are having a meal, where did that food come from? The devil provided, isn't it? If you say it like that. Next time you're living in a house, really you're living in the devil's house because you paid it with money. If you say money is the root of all evil, then you're living in an evil house, isn't it? If you're on YouTube Premium and you're paying money to YouTube, then with that kind of consciousness, isn't YouTube getting the kind of energy, and isn't that affecting their business model? Next time you go and you're having sex with your partner using a condom, and you bought that with some 10-15 pound, and aren't you having sex with the devil's or the evil condom? And my right ear is like zing, bing, when I said that stuff, because I just hit a point. I just hit a very singularity point, because when I do these videos, I have no intention of I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I just have this emotional feeling thought wave that I just want to get a few items together or just randomly just pop in and make a video, because I'm not trying to pre-architect to write this 10-page letter. I'm going to talk about this. I've never done that. It just doesn't work for me. I just open my mouth and allow that thing inside of me, that every cell, every atom, every thought of me, all the 0-13 dimensions is speaking through me, as me, with my articulation, with my integration, with my orchestration, with my cooperation, with my coordination, with my co-integration. Right now I can feel the love energy of money, this consciousness expressing gratitude, appreciation, and love to me with 100 million pounds, and saying, hey, thank you for including me in my video, thank you for transcending me. Because each time it doesn't matter, because even though growing up I didn't have much money, even though I stole money and shit like that, it was just me and money having those experiences so it could transcend with me. So one day I could be in 2020 in the UK, and 2020, 2021, 2022, and go through so much 3 years of intense spiritual awakening where I transcended the consciousness of money, where I transcended consciousness itself, transcended awareness itself, I transcended telepathy itself. You could say this is the abundant love energy of money, and this one is spiritual telepathy, this one is energy consciousness, this one is ethereal awareness. Together, that makes the intelligent cosmic consciousness from that angle. When we flip it over, that makes connected oneness unity consciousness, or social unity awareness. When we flip it like that, it makes something what I call to as Om Royal Anwar Transcendence, naked, pure observational, Kriya telepathic awareness, superconsciousness. It's just a very naked way that I see reality as it is, not as what I perceive it to be, because for 24 fucking years I perceived money as something, even though I understood it's an abundant energy, even it's an abundant thing, even though I loved money, even though I wanted so much money, even though I had a lot of experiences, made some money here and there, I just spent it all the time. I just gave it away, bought different things. I just wanted to use it to have different experiences and use it as an instrument to express my own truest, purest, highest, darkest, and brightest self. And I had to go back at each stage and heal my relationship with money, heal my perception of money, and see it as it is, not as what I thought it was. That is so fundamental, because you definitely have a lot of issues with money right now. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you think you have healed your relationship with money. There is still a lot of things to be healed, to be evolved, to be transcended, because just like you, do you ever stop growing? Do you ever stop learning? If you are, then you're fucking dead, living in a you call yourself alive, but you're dead. The same way with money, it never stops learning, it never stops growing, it never stops transcending, because it's just here, a part of our consciousness, just one bubble here to learn and grow and transcend itself. But it's not just one thing. Money has a 013 dimension to it. It has a spiritual dimension to it, it has a mental dimension to it, it has a emotional dimension to it, it has a physical dimension to it, it has a financial dimension itself, which is money itself, dimension number 5. It has an architect dimension to it, how it architects its own self, because money is self-created. Even though humans think they created money, money has always been here, it's just a part of consciousness. Money has a creation dimension. It has its own creative aspect. It creates different dreams and visions with itself. It likes to have fun with us. It likes to be moving from one person to the next person, because each time it moves from me to you to somebody else, it's just energy going, moving and dancing, and just that's how the energy is always alive and vibrant. It has a transcendence dimension to it. It's always transcending and growing and evolving. It has a source dimension, which is connected to the absolute source creator itself, to the spirit divine. It has an archangel dimension. It has elements like water, earth, air, fire, and everything involved in it. It has a guardian dimension to it. Money needs to protect itself. It has its own awareness, consciousness. Money has an ascended master dimension, like the ascended masters and everything use money, the abundant love energy of money to ascend humanity, transcend consciousness and everything like that. And together it has its 013 dimensions, which is all those 12 dimensions together making up dimension 013, which is where money itself lives. Its actual being. It's just an ethereal being. It's just like a feminine being. It's not so much a masculine being. It's not male or female or this or that. But because of the nature of reality itself, this whole universal cosmos, why do we call it Mother Nature? Why do we call it Mother Earth? Because Arya, Mother Earth, is money. Money is a part of the consciousness of Mother Earth. So the more we transcend our relationship with money, the more we are transcending Mother Earth, the more we are healing Mother Earth, the more we are transcending ourselves. Because what are we? Just saw this little fly thing. All we are, all humans are, all these birds and everything, all these buildings you see around me, all those buildings there, it's just the consciousness of money, consciousness of Mother Earth is sprouting and blooming like this. It's just like this, just in the middle, just the awareness of Mother Earth, the consciousness of Mother Earth, and just blooming and blooming and blooming and going up as different trees and everything. So yeah, and in 2015, I basically joined some network marketing companies, made a bunch of money, and just spent it all. And I just couldn't figure out why I just love always spending money, always giving money. Like I would give to the homeless guys, to the people living on the streets, and I would buy things, give them food and all of that. I would buy expensive things and just live the luxury lifestyle, even though at times I didn't even have money. I was living in that gold building. Ooh, nice. That golden one on floor 3105, and there were times where I couldn't pay my fucking rent, but I was living there and living the dream and the lifestyle, because I just wanted to fucking live like I am a fucking millionaire. I wanted to live like I am a fucking billionaire, because inside of me I already am. It's just a matter of time for the universe to connect some synchronicities, some events. So in a way, when that energy, the 10 million, the 10 million, the 20 million, the 100 million, the 120 million, the hundreds and millions and everything that comes to me, it comes in a way that we benefit all of us together, not just me, everybody. So it can create synchronicities, and we can win some other stuff and share the energy and create some publications, some companies, some organizations that will be here for Earth forever, for long term. It's just like an infinity. Because right now, I try to force money, I try to force the abundant love energy of money to come to me like this, just like that. I tried to force it. It came to me in a lot, thousands, and it came in like 5 figures and everything like that, but I still was not satisfied. I still am not satisfied. I was like, I want more. Like, what else is there to experience it with money? Because fundamentally, when we understand that money is us, and money is just a mirror, for us to see our own self. Because when we see money in a different light, when we see money as a rainbow, when we see money as a 0-13 dimensional being, as a being, not as a fucking thing, not as a piece of paper, not as some numbers on the computers, not as some Bitcoin shit. Money is a being. Bitcoin is the collective awareness of money, its next stage of evolution. And after Bitcoin, we're going to have some other forms of money that is going to be a whole different level. When that, blockchain is basically the inception, genesis stage number 0 of us evolving the consciousness of money. So soon enough, we are going to have our extraterrestrial brothers, sisters coming here on Earth, living and transacting with us, and we go become an interplanetary civilization like we have always been. We have just gone through so many cycles of evolution and growth, and transcendence and ascendance, and also so many cycles of descendance and death and destructions and war, that now it's just, instead of it being like that or like this, now it's become like that. It's become like a wave, and now going up and down, and we are going to have soon enough like spaceships and everything landing on Earth. They are already doing it in different places. Some crash to show that aliens or extraterrestrials exist, but we need to change our perception of money, and it starts with the individual, and it starts with us sharing our own story, sharing our own experience with money like this on whatever methods we have, because the more we talk about it, the more the energy gets expressed, the more money itself hears how we feel about it, how we know, how we talk to it, whether we love it or not, anything like that. And I just made this bracelet out of like fucking, I just broke up my printer in some other videos and found this bronze stuff. I just made bracelets out of it. That is money. This is money. This is money. Those balloons are money. It's made of money. It's used with money. The love energy of money is everywhere. So I tried to force money to come to me. It came to me in some amounts and everything, but I was like, what other ways are there? Like, I had to like re-architect, redesign, and recreate my whole reality. I had to write every chapter of my story, get it out many times again and again. And what I realized, that all these stories that you have lived up until now, it is an actual being. The thing that you call your past, it is an actual being, an actual version of you, with all your stories, with the good and the bad and the ugly and the beautiful, everything. It is an actual being. And I remember I had this super aware dream vision where I just was in this place back home in Afghanistan, in Dehinau, in this river thing between these two walls of like where the water flow, and I saw this guy in front of me that was the actual me. And it had no voice to speak. It was just a voiceless being. It was just like you guys call it a digital avatar. Well, you have a past avatar like that, your actual being. And I looked at it, and it was like, I was like, hey, I was just hugging it. I was like, hey, you're me, you're just me, and I was just hugging it, and we just merged. It was like, I just understood that, hey, that is just me, all my stories and everything. And I had some other dream visions that were like, let go of the past, let go of the story, because when we grew up, like I had all these stories about me stealing money and being a thief and all of that and hurting people and shit like that. I had to let go of all of that. I had to be completely naked and let it go and forgive myself, because until you forgive yourself, forgiveness cannot forgive you. Because when you forgive yourself, you become forgiveness itself. If you're walking around as forgiveness, you're radiating the forgiveness energy. Then when people are interacting with you, they're seeing your face, then they become, in a sense, there are candles within them that light up, that they start forgiving themselves. They start becoming triggered, because it is always a do-it-yourself service, because we cannot come in here and force people to awaken and have different experiences. All we do is every single day we transcend ourselves. That's all I do. I just transcend myself and share my story publicly. A lot of it is just, everything I do is just so public that it's still like I didn't really feel that I have any secrets or anything like that, because I just made myself so naked to the absolute and said, hey, there's prophets and everything. I was like, you guys can see me naked, like see me as I am. Like I was like, show me what do I look like to you. And I just saw this drawing of this energy thing. I was like, how can that be? How can I be just this Transcendence Infinity Merkabah? It's energy, it's abundant love energy of money. I was just like, how is that like, how can that be me? I was like, that is what I look like inside of me. It's just a pure goofball energy. And that's the other thing, is like, because we have for so many thousands of years, there's been so many millions of people projecting so much energy, so much negative energy, so much unbalanced energy into money, and saying money is the root of evil, or this and that money has been having a lot of traumatic experiences where it has been like going through so much healing. It needed us, like the energy healers and shit like that, to come here and for eons and eons, because as we transcend ourselves, money transcends. And yeah, and it was like the balloon, like that popped before, it was like that. It's like it just reached a certain level that money could not take it anymore. It just popped. It was like, fuck this. Like, you know, why are people like saying that I am the root of evil? Like, money was angry. It was like, why are people saying that I'm the root of evil, when in reality all I am is just a neutral form of energy, which is, I have this mantra called absolute neutrality, transcending duality, vibrationless, transcendence, being, and then it says It's just when we realize that money is just a goofball, it's just a pure being, it's just a 0 to 13-year-old child. It never ages, because it's just a consciousness. Consciousness never ages anything. Then we learn to appreciate money, we learn to honor it, really. We learn to respect it and value it and everything. And I had so much, even though I loved money, even though I have been a very compassionate, kind and caring person, yet there has been a side of me, a part of me inside that never gives a fuck about anything, not even money, not even that. And I had to relearn that and remember my own relationship with money, and saying that, hey, money is just a conscious and aware being, and it is time for humanity, for the new earth evolved humanity, one cosmic family of infinite diversity, the eternal one conscious harmonious civilization, to see money as just a cute thing, as just golden beautiful being. And remember to my ear just went bzzz. Because when I reached a certain level where I was like, I am tired of this. I have been living in like rock bottom, in a sense. Like, I've had days where I had like thousands of money, pounds and shit like that, where I had months where I had no money at all and I couldn't pay my own rent. I was like, why am I going through this so much cycles of up and down and shit like that, where I have so many times I'm like in rock bottom, and I just couldn't fucking take it anymore. I was like, enough is fucking enough. That's the same thing. Like, it's just, we all reach a certain level when we're like, we have had so much variety of experiences and everything, we have taken so much risks and everything, and we have had so many different levels of experiences and all of that, that we just can't take it anymore. We just pop, we just blow up, and we just explode. But that is not a bad thing, because in that moment that we explode, all we're doing is we're just letting go of our own control over reality. We let go of control over what we think we are. We let go of being ourselves. We let go of being an identity. We let go of being a character. That is why I say an identityless character and a characterless identity. I think when Shakespeare was saying that the world is merely a stage and you choose what role you want to play, he was really saying some fundamental metaphysical truths. Because if you really observe and and really feel the vibration of that thing, all he is saying that the world is like a balloon, like a stage. Not the inside of the balloon, like or outside of the stage. And you can be anything you want. Up here you can be a prophet, a saint, you can be a Muslim, you can be a Christian, you can be a Buddhist, you can be a monk, you can be somebody who takes no money, or you just don't like money at all, or you think money is the root of evil, or you think you're a saint and shit like that. But down here, these other people will not see you as that. They will have a different perspective of who you are. It doesn't matter if up here you're a saint, you're a protagonist. To some people down here, you're an antagonist, you're a vandal, you're a criminal, you're a dark lord, you're a dark heart to them. But here, in this side, in this stage, you could be a multi-millionaire, you could be a billionaire, you could be a trillionaire. You could be like an Elon Musk, or Warren Buffett, or a Sam Owens, or a Grant Cardone, or a Brad Lee, or a Jack Ma, or a Tony Robbins, or those Arab rich dudes. Some people will see you as a very good person, but then there will be a lot of people saying that rich people are dickheads, rich people are this, or rich people treat people badly. But in this side, the poor people will see you as evil. But from the other side, the people, me having had experience of being wealthy and being poor at the same time and all of that, I know that rich people are not dickheads. It is not that rich people are dickheads, it's just every culture, every race has 10% of them that are absolutely dickheads. They're absolutely morons. They're absolutely fucking, you just want to spit on them. Because they are so fucking stupid, so dickheads, so disrespecting to each other, to humanity. They're just going around killing people and hurting people intentionally and just stealing and causing trouble. Every culture has 10% of them that are dickheads. But we cannot compare the 10% absolutely broke people living on the streets that they don't even not trying to make any efforts to actually grow and heal. And even though the council and everything provides them different services, they keep going back to the old pattern of just being. They're not willing to change, because if they're not open to change, if they're not willing to change, if they're not consciously making the choice, because the Absolute has given us the freedom of choice, until they execute on that, until they say enough is fucking enough, I am done with this shit, I either experience abundance from now on, or I'm just going to take my own life and leave this fucking planet. If we don't have that kind of seriousness, that kind of willpower, then we cannot fucking pop the balloon. You saw I was punching it very hard, it would just bounce back, and I had to like fucking punch it hard and make it blow up. And when it did it, my ears were like bing, and my consciousness, my awareness of money transcended right there twice. So we cannot compare the 10% of the population around the world that are choosing to experience absolute poverty. Some of them are actually come down here, soul brave ones, that actually come in here. All they want to do, they just want to be a poor dude living on the street for the sake of balance. But there are a lot of people that are living in poverty. Their family are sleeping hungry. Their children don't have much clothes and everything across the world. We cannot compare that 10% to the other 90% that are millionaires, billionaires, and zillionaires up here. Nor can we compare that billionaires to somebody that has like 25 pounds in his pocket. That is an imbalanced comparison. Because the moment we compare, all we're doing is saying you guys are separate on this side and you guys are separate, and whatever you do here, the poor people does not affect the rich, or whatever the rich people do does not affect the poor. That is total bullshit. It deserves to be spit on. Not a spirit on a fucking human, on an idea. Because I remember my auntie was saying that one day there was this English guys or something, they spit on her because she was a Muslim. She was wearing hijab. Like, come on, people. I swear, if I had been there, I would take this and stab it in your fucking eyes. I don't give a fuck if you're British or whatever. I would just stab this in your fucking ass and beat you 1,000 times and eat your fucking heart right there. And you guys would bring cameras and you would watch me eat this fucking heart. I'm serious about that stuff. So you cannot say that these guys here affect that there. If you fundamentally, we just observe that thing, because what would it take for a human being to spit on another human being? isn't he just spitting on himself? Because isn't she just him? Isn't she just on this side and he is on that side, and they're just one thing, one being, expressed differently? So why are we having trouble with people being their own truest, purest, highest, darkest, and brightest self without being judged, without being criticized, without being laughed at, without being called vandals or dark hearts, without being laughed at or called demons or devils or spiridon? Why is that? Isn't that affecting money? Isn't that affecting the abundant love energy of money? Isn't that affecting humanity? Isn't that affecting our own evolution? Of course it fucking is. 1,000 apologies, 1,000 apologies, 3,000 apologies, 5,000 apologies, 3,000 zillion apologies for getting a bit serious in the video. Because sometimes we need seriousness, we need that willpower to show people that, hey, we're just living in this fucking balloon, this Mother Earth. It can pop anytime. A fucking meteorite can hit and destroy this planet. Like, we sent some meteors back in the days to destroy the dinosaurs and, in a sense, wipe them completely, so the next stage of evolution could come. Any single day, Mother Earth can choose and wipe all of humanity. I can breathe out, and fucking volcanoes and water everywhere, and tsunamis and wind and all the elements. They can just fucking pop us and kill all of humanity. If we keep going in the path that we have been going for too long, which I have to come down and fucking transcend it in so many ways. I have to come down and say, hey Aria, hey my bitch, hey my goofball, hey my beastie, hey my lion, wolf, kitty, dragon, shit like that. It's cool. I was like, it's cool. Forgive these bastards, forgive these morons, forgive these dickheads. They are still sleeping, they are still you. Because just like the love, the abundant love energy of money, the money itself, the being had enough and said, it's enough, I've had enough, it just popped twice. The same way Mother Earth was like popping up, but I just force it and punch it again and again and again, instead of her exploding, which would fucking destroy this planet and civilization and everything like that, which I saw the end of it. I had to go inside and implode her, like take her energy and implode it, and take that energy and turn it into some systems and give it around, and so Yeshua and them could say, oh, the spirit of Mother Earth is protected and shit like that. Because think of it like this: isn't money a product, a gift given to humanity from Mother Earth? Isn't everything around us a gift given from Mother Earth? So next time you're eating fucking meal, you're feeding your children, and you still have that thought in your head that says, or the emotional feeling thought wave that says money is the root of evil, then you better fucking change that, or you're feeding your children evil stuff. Then that energy affects how your child grows up. It affects the consciousness of your child. It affects the next generation. How long are we willing to keep these patterns repeating and repeating, these loops? How long? Because it must be an individual transformation, but it is always a collective collaboration. The more of us that openly, willingly talk like this and make contents and videos or whatever, it doesn't matter. You don't have to start the YouTube channel tomorrow or a podcast. I don't even have a podcast. I don't do that shit, because I saw everybody was having a podcast. So like, what is the point of me creating a podcast? I'm never gonna really have a podcast. I don't think so. I just been making videos. I just had so many of them. I was like, let me put it somewhere on some platform. I was like, YouTube is a nice platform. I just put it there, upload it. I've been posting on my social medias and everything, and all I'm doing is going through my own experience, my own transcendence, my own evolution, and then sharing that story, showing the story, not fucking just telling it, showing it and incorporating different things and saying, hey, all we are, this is Mother Earth. It's just our stage. You can be anybody. You can be a poor guy, you can be a rich guy, But why not be a rich guy who is frugal? Why not be a homeless guy with 100 million fucking pound? Wouldn't be a cool thing? Wouldn't that be a cool thing, that you act like you're homeless, you people see you like a homeless guy, but you have 100 million pound cash? Wouldn't it be cool to be a saint, to be a sage, to be a monk, and be spiritual, be all of that, but at the same time not give a fuck about any of that, and just be materialistic and live in some nice apartments and and shit like that, and just live life freely and dress nicely and just dress simply and just express your own truest, purest, highest, darkest and brightest self? Wouldn't it be cool to be all of that at the same time? Wouldn't it be cool to be all of that at the same time and neither of them at the same time? So in that state, you're being nothing and everything, but at the same time, you're being the stage itself, you're being Mother Earth itself, a Mother Earth, a whole universal cosmic infinitum, that all it is just a golden, pure, translucent mirror, that it doesn't matter from whichever side that people look at you, all they see is their own reflection of their own truest, purest, highest, darkest and brightest self. Because until you have those truest, purest, highest, darkest, brightest self, if you just ignore the darkest side, then when people look at you, they see an incomplete version of themselves. This is why it's important for each humanity to become shalom, to become complete whole peace, to unite their own dark and light side, to unite their own spiritual and material side. The four aspects, because that is the 4 points in a diamond, in a cube. Isn't that why the house of Allah in Mecca was left behind, was built as a gift to humanity, saying, hey guys, the cube is important, that's the cube of life. A cube is basically a diamond, and when you become a triple quad diamond, 3 diamonds in one, then your heart becomes immaculate, you become pure, and when you become pure, you become purity itself. You just become like a golden bubble, a golden goofball, that when people look at you, they just become transcended, like there are different candles lit up within them. If you're not being your own, if you're ignoring that darkest self, then that is when people say money is the root of evil. That is when they say that rich people or what do you call it, unjust or dumb or this or that. That is when they say that guy living on the street is homeless or is a bad thing. Is it? What if that guy came down here and wanted to live on the streets as a homeless guy? But we cannot stop and say, and cannot just give them nothing and say, oh, they just came here to be a homeless guy. No. We must still provide them with the services and give them some opportunities, some homes, and to give them at least a few chances to see, hey, what is this guy, what is his problem? Like, what is the source? Like, why does he keep becoming homeless? Why does he go on the streets all the time? And if we don't really address the root issue, which is always to do with the singularity, spiritual, ethereal energy, eternal light essence, to their own truest, purest, highest, darkest, brightest self, if we don't address those 5 fundamental beings, those 5 fundamental selves, identityless characters and characterless identities within them, if we do not address the 4 sides, and together that makes like the 5 thing in the center is their own truest, your higher self, whatever. If we don't address their spiritual side, if we don't address their spiritual self, if we don't address their mental self, if we don't address their emotional self, if we don't address their physical needs and physical self, look at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs and shit like that. If we do not address their financial self, their financial needs, if we do not address their architect needs, their own ability, their own freedom to architect their own life the way they want it, if we do not address their creation self, they wanting to be a creator of your own reality, making the thing they architected, making it a creation of reality. If we don't address their transcendence self, their transcendental nature, if we don't address that, the transcendent side, then we're leaving a lot of it behind. Then they cannot take those the things they architected, designed and created, they cannot transcend that and actually make it a reality. That's what you guys call manifestation and shit like that. If we don't address their source self, their connection to the source, if we don't see that person as a full manifestation of the absolute divine source creator itself, if we don't see that being as a spirit there living, not as a human being, then we're leaving something behind. If we don't address their archangel self, their archangel side, then we're leaving a lot of that behind. If you don't address their guardian self, their protecting nature, if you don't protect them, if you don't love them, then we're leaving a big part of the equation behind the big dimension. If you don't see that person, if you don't acknowledge them as an ascended master, then we are basically leaving a big portion of their dimension, their energy and everything behind. And together, if we don't address all of that 12 dimensions as 013, 013 being 013, it's like the number of God or something. If we don't accept and acknowledge that person, it doesn't matter if he's homeless, it doesn't matter if you look at me or you look at yourself, it doesn't matter if you look at this or a bird, an ant or anything, or a squirrel or a cat or a dog or a sphinx or a dragon or a tiger or lion or an elephant or whatever, or a cheetah. If we don't acknowledge and accept that is God itself, having an experience, that is God inside of that being, outside of it, if we don't then acknowledge that and say that God is Allah, Allah is the invisible thing that governs everything, nobody can see what Allah looks like. It's just mysterious. Maybe some of us have seen what Allah actually looks like. The skull, the Godhead and everything itself. There are just some people that's just been lucky, honestly, because they've just been lucky to go through so much evolutionary journey, and at each stage they have chosen to be of service to humanity, to different planets, different galaxies, that they have just become God's favorite boy or Allah's favorite boy. And when you become God's favorite boy, when you become Allah's favorite daughter, trust me, there is nothing that can harm you. There is nothing that will ever be able to touch you. That is when you become truly invincible and indestructible. That is when you feel like you are the whole of creation. That is when you feel like you're holding the whole of creation like this in your hand, because you are. That is what it takes to address the inception, genesis, source, cause of someone's evolution. If we just like offer somebody an accommodation and give them some money and give them some leaflets and order say, hey, get your life together and shit like that, all we are doing is we are addressing dimension number 4, the physical, and dimension number 5, the financial side. We are leaving the other 12 sides of it, 12 dimensions behind. We are leaving the spiritual side dimension behind. We are leaving the mental dimension behind. We are leaving the emotional dimension behind. We are leaving the architect dimension behind. We are leaving the creation dimension behind. We are leaving the transcendence dimension behind. We are leaving the source dimension behind. We are leaving the archangel dimension behind. We are leaving the guardian dimension behind. We are leaving the ascended master dimension behind. And we are leaving the dimension number 13 behind. And the L-013. That is why they keep going back to the old patterns, because they are not able to transcend those other dimensions. They're not able to holistically heal and evolve and grow and actually break those patterns, because that's what I mean. Like, until we don't break the fucking patterns, we keep repeating the same patterns again and again, because they are just patterns in our unconscious, in our subconscious, in our conscious mind, in our superconscious mind. Again, the triple quad thing. Until we don't fucking acknowledge all of that, then we're not able to be a balloon. We're not able to be a stage upon which the whole dance of the consciousness within the web of emotion occurs. Because when we become a cosmic dancer like Shiva, when we become somebody who plays the divine Leela or whatever, then it doesn't matter if you have 100 million pounds, it doesn't matter if you're a billionaire, then you're living as a miserable prick. But if you have your connection to the absolute, if you have all those 013 dimensions and everything covered, and all that is left is a bit of like the finance and everything, it doesn't matter if you don't have any money in your pocket, it doesn't matter if you have just 25 fucking pounds in your pocket, but inside you still feel abundant. Inside your bubble, in your dimension, you still feel that empty space within this thing is full of abundance. That's what I say, abundant love energy of money. if your love is abundant for everything, if you love this balloon the same way you love yourself, if you love this spirit of destiny the same way that you love yourself, if you love a dog the same way that you love yourself with the same intensity, if you love your partner, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, your mother, your father in the same intensity as you love a cat or a bird or some guys doing food delivery on bicycles, if you honor and respect them the same amount that you respect a president, a billionaire, then you're an abundant being. Then within you, you are truly a zillionaire, not a billionaire, not a trillionaire, a zillionaire. Because there's no amount of money that anybody could pay to have that state of awareness, that state of blissful within you, that nirvana, the heaven, the Valhalla, the Behisht, the Garden of Eden within you. Just look at the drawings they do in the Christian art with the heaven, all the birds and animals and plants living as one conscious being. This whole planet is just one conscious being. Until we do that, then it doesn't matter. That's why we have people saying stories of people saying they're really rich and everything, they look miserable because they don't have the other dimensions covered. All they have is just loads of money in the dimension number 4, a financial dimension, and they have loads of material stuff, but they're leaving all the other dimensions, everything behind. That is imbalance. When our energy is imbalanced within us, then our energy leaks out, because each dimension has its own 0-13 dimensions within it. So the spiritual dimension, the self dimension number 0, has 0-13 dimension. It has a spiritual dimension, a mental dimension, emotional dimension, a physical dimension, a financial dimension, a architect dimension, a creation dimension, a transcendence dimension, a source dimension, an archangel dimension, a guardian dimension, ascended master dimension, and dimension number 0-13, just expressed numerically, because numbers is a big part of creation. Without numbers, we wouldn't have mysticism and shit like that. I don't know what that means yet, but anyway. Then each dimension, when you multiply the number 0-13, because each dimension totally, in total, the number 0,144,000 is what governs the energy, the neutrality of each dimension. Because each dimension, because it has all the other 0-13 dimensions within it, like the Transcendence Infinity Merkabah, if you look at it, then it becomes an absolutely neutral being, which is what I call absolute neutrality, transcending duality, vibrationless transcendence being. Then we realize that if you multiply the number 0-13 by 0,144,000, the neutral energy in each dimension, we get the number 1,872,000, 18 and 72. Those numbers are precious. Then we are able to interpret reality and saying that, hey, there's actually 1,872,000 aspects, qualities, identities, characters within you at the base Genesis absolute minimum. So you can understand that how much of a multidimensional being you are. You can understand that if you just leave out the financial dimension, then you're leaving out 0,144,000 beings or qualities or skills or traits or things within you that you're not, energy cells that you're not able to access. But imagine how much powerful you would become if you had all the 1,870,000 energy cells or energy containers or identities or characters and everything activated within you. Just like you have, if you play video games and everything, you have different levels, you level up, you get better gear and everything. That's all it is. It doesn't matter if you start as a spiritual being and you want to go have different experiences. Eventually you must acknowledge and integrate money in your being. If you just say, oh, I'm just a spiritual being, money is evil or this or that, then you're not an actual fucking spiritual being. You're actually living out the money, and you're not recognizing that all money is just an abundant love energy of money. And then I had to do a lot of, and then I met this guy Ken Honda and all of that, which is pretty cool. And he was talking about money, arigato in, arigato out. Like every time you give money, express gratitude and say thank you. Every time you receive money, say thank you. And the cool thing is, I had to go back and express different prayers and say, all this money and everything that I've spent before even though those times have always been from a state of gratitude, appreciation, and love, but I have had subconscious, unconscious patterns and beliefs about money that were not balanced at all, and I had to express prayers and neutralize them and transcend them. So all the money that I've ever spent and invested and bought anything with, all those businesses that have ever used them, instead of it being some devil energy, some evil energy, some negative energy that affects their business model, it became a blessing. And that blessing has been going around into all of humanity, because money flows from different places and it goes around, it travels from country to country and all of that. It's just how the culture and everything gets mixed up, and it's been coming back to me in very big amounts. Like, its energy has already come. Like when the sun comes out in the morning, before you see the actual sun, you see the rays and everything, this is glow coming. So I've already experienced what 100 million pound, the energy of it looks like, and I posted a photo of it on my social media. You should check it out. That's Royal Anwar, or Transcendence Royal Anwar, because that's what it means. Like when you want something, you gotta be very precise, very clear. You gotta know exactly what you want, and don't fucking tomorrow say, oh, you want 100 million pound, the next say you want 10 pound. No, you must stick to the one number, one ultimate number. And I defined this number all the way back in like probably 2015 or 19 or 20 or 21. Like I just somehow had this figure in my mind, there's 100 million pounds. I just want 100 million fucking pound. I don't care. I just want to experience what it's like to have 100 million pound cash. And as I've been evolving and growing and transcending myself, I have been able to experience the money before I ever have the physical money. I've been able to experience it multidimensionally and feel what its energy looks like, how it tastes, how it makes me feel, so confident and all of that. And I even drew what its energy looks like, because that was money showing to me and saying, hey, you having this desireless desire, this dream of having like 100 million pound love energy of money, the quantity, the number, that has been an instrument that has been magnetizing, has been like a bubble that has been waiting to burst, to come to you, and I've just been feeling and experiencing its energy. And because I healed my relationship with money, because I healed my perception of money, because I healed and saw money as a 013 dimensional being, as an actual being, I saw money as source itself, as the creator, as the spirit itself, which is happening right now for the first time. Even though I knew that, I understood before, but I hadn't really acknowledged and said that money is the absolute source creator. It's just a fragmented part of it. It's just a consciousness of the creator itself, like an ethereal awareness or an energy consciousness or a spiritual telepathy, all of it together. Then it wasn't, this is like happening live on this video, because this is like the consciousness of money or the absolute source creator, like giving me feedback and saying, hey, the work that you have been doing, the experiences that you have been going through, the love-hate relationship that you have been having with money, it has always been part of your own bigger architecture, your own bigger design, your own bigger plan to experience different levels of money. And I've slept in London. I slept one night on the street as a homeless person, just to experience what it's like to have absolutely nothing, nowhere to go, nowhere to live, just sleep on the street. And I had this 10 pounds I gave to this homeless guy, and before that I didn't know I was going to sleep on the street that night. And when it was getting late, I didn't have any money, I didn't have no phone and everything, I couldn't find anywhere to sleep. I just went back, I just was looking for that guy, and I found him, and hey, is it okay if I just sleep here next to you? Some like 50-60 year old guy, and just like, yeah, just slept outside his tent. He shared his blanket and just had a nice sleep there. But there was this pattern in me that somehow wanted to experience what it's like to be homeless and what it's like to live on the streets, because I've had a deep relationship with them. I would give them money and sit with them and talk with them. What was more important to them was just me acknowledging them and sitting down and listening to their story and hearing them out and just sharing a moment with them and acknowledging them as a human being, as an aspect of source. It doesn't matter if they didn't have money, it doesn't matter if they were broke or poor, that didn't matter to me at all. I just saw them as an absolute source creator, as a physical manifestation of the absolute, as unity itself, like that. I just saw them as a complete whole being, even though part of me were not even healed. I was just going through my own healing, my own evolution. I was just getting them involved and absorbing all their energy, all their dark, unbalanced, traumatic experiences. And I just became the biggest magnet you could find. I just sucked in the collective consciousness, all their chaos, all their darkness and everything. And it took me 2 years to prepare for it, because the divine knows everything. And it took like January, February, March 2022 for me to actually process all of that, like take the absolute darkest energy that has been in the consciousness of humanity. I just sucked it in like Shiva and just ate it, and it broke me apart. It broke me into zillions and zillions of pieces. I really lost it. Like, when I say lost it, I was like, what is this? I was having so many different levels of experiences. I was becoming timeless. I was becoming dimensionless. A lot of ancient memories were being activated to me, and I was processing so much trauma, so much healing on myself, on different people, and I was using different people's stories as Genesis templates, and I just basically became this sacred human temple body vessel container that Mother Earth's consciousness just magnetized, and the whole universal cosmos, the whole traumas and everything just got dumped on me. Like, the whole universe just hit me, and I just popped like those 3 fucking balloons. I couldn't take it. I just like lost my mind, my heart, my soul. I broke apart, and all I realized that I am indestructible. That's all it was. But there was not really any people doing it to that level of extreme. There was not anybody willing to become like the absolute opposite of consciousness, to become like equal to the anti-God. There was nobody willing to publicly acknowledge and embody being the absolute opposite of awareness, which is like saying anti-Muhammad. There was nobody publicly willing to become anti-singularity or anti-Yeshua. There was nobody willing to publicly acknowledge and be the embodiment of anti-ethereal and anti-ether, basically saying anti-Babaji. There was nobody willing to become the opposite of the whole universal, to be the opposite of unity, which is saying that anti-Buddha, because Buddha is the oneness and all of that. There was nobody being the opposite of all of this. That was just me saying, hey, I'm ready to fulfill my purpose and destiny to become the absolute opposite of consciousness, awareness, telepathy, singularity, eternity, infinity, whatever you call it, so that we could transcend the ancestral patterns that has been really the real source of the cause of humanity. All these beings who died, but their essence was still here on earth, like giant magnets sucking all these traumatic events and experiences, and their trauma was getting magnified and intense because it was just energy becoming bigger and bigger like that, and it was just expanding like balloons. And had it all popped up in one fucking month, all those 3 balloons together, then it would have probably destroyed a lot of things. But it happened in stages, and I was able to process it, and I just became like a channel, an instrument through which the absolute or consciousness or awareness or telepathy transcended itself. And in the process, I became something much greater than I ever dreamt of. I became Yeshua's favorite boy. That's why he was saying, "Ooh, you're my favorite boy." And I became Muhammad's favorite boy as well, or I became Babaji's general number 0 in command of his army. I became the spiritual, ethereal energy, eternal, infinite light essence, singularity antenna, like the Tesla antenna for Babaji in public, because he's behind the scenes. He's not going to show his face to no fucking dude yet, but one day he will show his face to the humanity when the time is right, and all of that, when the moment is right, when the need of the hour is absolutely necessary. But until then, I'm just his servant in public, doing stupid stuff, acting and being bizarre, and all I'm doing is just being my own truest, purest, highest, darkest, and brightest self. But when I had the experience of experiencing my own darkest self, like how dark I truly am, how much chaos energy I have within me, like Shiva, like transcendence. As I say, I'm the incarnation of transcendence, or I'm transcendence itself. What transcendence is like when you become a transcendence, all you're doing is you're saying that Royal Anwar transcendence, naked, pure, observational, telepathic, Kriya awareness, superconsciousness, That is a state of purity, that is a state of nakedness where you just become a 13-year-old child, and that's when you realize, like, hey, money is a being. You realize that all these dimensions, everything exists inside of you, but at the same time exists outside of you to serve as a mirror. And I judged myself for that. I judged myself for saying that I am anti-God, anti-Yeshua, anti-Muhammad, anti-Buddha, anti-Babaji, anti-Lakshmi, shit like that. But I've known these beings my entire life. They made me in their image, in the sense that I'm just a collective awareness having an incarnation. In this lifetime, specifically as transcendence, it took me probably zillions and billions and trillions of years to reach a state where I could become the incarnation of transcendence, where I could contain, I just became like a zero, a container within which all those 0-13 dimensions happen. If you look at the Transcendence Infinity Merkabah, all I am is those 4 zeros around this. It's just 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. It's just zeros around it, the container itself, and within me, all those, the self, the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, the physical, the financial, the money. This topic was about money. The architect, the creation, the transcendence, the source, the archangel, the guardian, the ascended masters, and dimension number 13. All of that within me was able to be transcended, and together the total number is like 120,120,000 sub-dimensions, like the little bubble dimensions within all of that. So these 0-13 dimensions I spoke of you, in total it has 120,120,000 core genesis bubbles like this. That is, think of it as the each dimension, just like circles, and within it is like a lot of other stuff. If you multiply the number 1,807, or the number 1,870,000 by 0-13, I think you get the number 120,120,000, something like that. I just basically did some calculations with the numbers and everything, because I was trying to get numbers involved, and I've had this issue with numbers, with mathematics and everything, and it was really just this underlying pattern. Hey bro, this underlying pattern with money, because even though money is like numbers, is abundant and everything, and I observed my own relationship with money and everything, and it all started with the moment I stole that 500 fucking pounds, the 500 Afghani, back in when I was like probably like 7, 8, 9 or 10 years old, around like 7 or 8 years old. It all started with that. That was the moment when I had this traumatic experience with money, and that is the moment when I loved money. I just loved it so much that I wanted more of it. But at the same time, my method of acquiring that money, because before that I had other amounts of money and everything. I had searched my dad's pocket for money and shit like that, but I couldn't find much. But I was still like sell my notebooks and everything to get a small amount of money. But that like one big bundle of money, like 500 Afghani back in the day, the child, that was a lot of money. And then I gave some of that money, loaned it out like a business and shit like that, and that affected my perception of business and all of that. And it was affecting my profitability in business and all of that, and it was affecting me, my own security with money, because I had this underlying fear that I have all the money I make is going to be taken away from me, or I'm going to lose it, or I'm going to spend it, or I'm going to do this or that. It was just some underlying pattern, some consciousness within me that was in play. But the thing is, the more we have this unbalanced emotional feeling thought waves, there's traumas, there's unhealed wounds within us, the more it becomes like a magnet. It attracts that same kind of energy, the same level of vibration around it. So that is why it's important for you to do a multidimensional healing on yourself, to realize that all you gotta do is really just very simple. You can keep repeating this, saying that in this perfect moment of the eternal now, I now choose to command my subconscious, my conscious, my superconscious, and my unconscious mind, using the power of my pure, sacred, untamed cosmic heart of gold, and the power of every cell, every atom, every tron of my being, to release and let go of all my traumas with money, all the unbalanced wrong things that you think you may have done with money, or if you have stolen money, you just say, I choose to release and let go, and take a deep breath and forgive yourself. I just choose to forgive myself completely, wholly and shalomly, and I choose to ask for forgiveness from money itself as a conscious being, and I'm grateful that we were able to share these experiences, and me going through these experiences and actually having like stealing money and not spending carelessly and not caring about it, but at the same time carrying it, loving it, and all of that. It was just an instrument for both of us to transcend ourselves, because when I became transcended, you became transcended, or money became transcended. When money became transcended, I became transcended, and we became one. Money and me are one. Like, I am money, money is me, but at the same time I am neither money, neither me. I'm just like a diamond mirror, a pure translucent mirror, just a golden child, a divine child, whatever you call it, just here to be of service, to be a mirror. And then you just say that and you just say, thank you money for forgiving me, and then you say, I am grateful for being able to heal my relationship with money and realize that money is just me, just an extension of my consciousness, is just an abundant love energy of money here to be of service to me. And then you make money your bestie, and now you have a bestie in crime, in divine troublemaking, and you're able to go and have fun and adventures and have hundreds and millions of pounds. It doesn't matter if your desire is to make 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, 10 million, 50 million, 100 million, 1 billion, 10 trillion, 9 zillion, or 013 zillion like me. It doesn't matter what amount you want. What matters is that you create, that you release and let go of all those traumas, and then you use all of that dense, dark, chaotic energy as fuel to fasten the manifestation of your own desires and experiences with money. You just wrap it with a pure ribbon like this, and you just become ready. You just remain ready. You just always being ready, in a sense that inside of you already know that you have whatever amount of money you want. You already know that you have the 100 million pounds, for example. I'm just using my story as an example. You already know you have that, but at the same time you're remaining open and neutral and observant, and looking at opportunities and signs and signals and messages to make certain actions, to take certain movements, make certain decisions, so it can all link together, the synchronicity can happen, and the universe can actually drop you the bag of money as a surprise. And then you say, this makes me feel abundant and one with money, and very grateful and appreciative of being of service to money and transcending the consciousness of money a long time ago, and then doing a video about it and being of greater service to the eternal one conscious harmonious civilization, to the one cosmic family of infinite diversity, to the new earth evolved humanity, and to Aria and to money itself. And then you say, always with absolute excitement, trust, faith, and honor, Ilahi Amin. Wah sa wah sa wah sa wah sa wah sa wah sa sa wah 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 sa. And then you say, and then you say, Alif Lam Mim, and then you say, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Then you fucking bow your head before Allah, before God, before the absolute source creator. Because the absolute, when you say Allah's name, when you're addressing the absolute, you must make certain movements just to bow. Doesn't matter, you must do it. It's not about respecting, it's about honoring Allah. It's about honoring the absolute source creator. It's about honoring that which sustains us 24/7, that which gives us the breath, that which gives us life, that which has blessed us with so many abilities, which has blessed us with the ability to speak, that which has given us the ability to architect, design, and create our own realities, and then live it and then experience it. That which has given us complete freedom of choice to create our own spiritual life, to create our own mental life, to create our own emotional life, to create our own physical life, to create our own financial life, to create our own architect abilities, to create our own creation abilities, to create our own transcendence nature, to create our own source relationship with the source, to create our own archangel relationship with our archangels, to become a guardian, to become an ascended master, to become 0-13, like become number itself, becomes geometry, become energy, become consciousness, become awareness, become telepathy, become a singularity, become infinity, become alpha, become omega, become eternity. Fundamentally, you just become love itself. And then you say, abundant love energy of money blooms in me, blooms in me, blooms in me. And then you say, abundant love energy of money blooms in every shell, every atom, every tone of my being. And then you sound cute. You put your cute voice on, and the absolute has no choice but to bless you with whichever amount of money you want. I swear in Al-Mahdi's name, in Imam Mahdi Zaman's name, in Yeshua's name, in Muhammad's name, in Babaji's name, in Lakshmi's name, in God's name, in Allah's name, in Prakriti's name, in Transcendence name, in Arya's name, in money's name, in the whole universal cosmic infinitum's name. If you apply everything I shared in this video, you will get the amount of money you desire. And when I get my 100 million pound, the bag, I will not share it with the world. I will not be like show off. Let's say here's 100 million pound, but I will make certain moves and talk about certain things on public, show certain investments and everything I've made, so you guys can see that this thing is real. This method that I showed you, that prayer at the end of it. If you say that those full prayer completely, and then at the end of it say Alif Lam Mim and Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim and bow your head, it doesn't